Um, Hello, my name is Fernando Garcia, and I am doing my assignment on injury in sports and exercise. I believe I selected from chapter 20. And here's a little intro I have. Little neat. Okay, and then starting off with harmful coaching attitudes that increase injury. So, from what I understand and from what I read from chapter 20, did find that coaches often promote slogans like no pain, no gain, or give 110%. And this is a very crucial way to get injured because it pushes the athlete to um increase their, I would say, their VO2 max, push them to the max, which may make them like fatigue, maybe even injure themselves. Um, this would also encourage athletes to play through pain and injury, something that they would not report to the coaches or staff. Then rewards for dangerous efforts reinforce harmful behavior patterns. Athletes may take unnecessary risks, especially in contact sports. I feel like a lot of athletes would be kind of scared to say if they're hurt and they get benched for a couple weeks and they won't get to go back and play on the field. So it's something that athletes may be afraid of to speak about, which is pretty bad because they could actually get hurt and it could cause them not to continue their sport career. And then there's a lack of education recognizing signal of real injury. I would say this one's really huge because as for myself, I can see in the past I would shrug off some ankle injury, but knowing myself it actually hurted. But it was actually pretty bad. I had to sit out. Sometimes athletes try to push. It could be the adrenaline in the game. If it's intense, they want to keep going, not stop. And then I can see why athletes get frustrated with that when they get subbed off and such early on in the game. Coaches should teach athletes the difference between effort, pain, and injury pain. This is a really big one. I feel like every coach and athlete should be able to distinguish the two from each other. So for the next one, the culture of overtraining and misrepresented pain. So starting off, overtraining is often mistaken for mental toughness. Chronic injuries, shin splints, swimmer shoulders, results from overuse over time while doing a sport. Many athletes believe that more training always equals better performance. That could be the case, but at the same time, you could be overtraining yourself, which can also leave some tear and wear in muscles. Pain is often downplayed or normalized in high performance environments. Youth athletes are more vulnerable due to developing bodies and high expectations. Um, for that portion, I do strongly believe, especially kids who are the ages from 12 to 15, trying to like lift the weights. I think it's really dangerous because they're on their knees, their plates, their growth plates. If they get damaged, it could affect them in the long run. And their children. So I think for youth, I think more of a body weight exercise slash weight training, only using their body weight. For example, using rubber like the body bands, body weight weights would be more ideal instead of doing, weights of squats, anything really heavy or heavy. Um, Coaches and trainers must emphasize proper rest and recovery. This would be very ideal. For example, maybe an ice bath after training to help the body recover and sleeping a good amount, maybe at least 8 hours after training or a game to get the body recovered. Okay, and then the next one's feeling worthless when injured. So athletes may feel discarded or forgotten once they're injured, as I touched on earlier, that they probably don't want to get benched for the rest of their season if it's a serious injury. Um, Coach behavior, even unintended, can signal that injured players are less vulnerable. Injured athletes often experience loss of identity and motivation. I would also touch on this. This could also cause depression for athletes. thinking that the injury might be a season-ending injury, which make them unmotivated to do rehab or recover fully 100%. And then contradictory messages from coaches increase confusion and emotional strain. A culture focused solely on winning makes hurt players feel like burdens. That's also a good one. And then coaches must actively involve and support injured athletes. I would say that is also correct. As long as they are able to and make them feel inclusive in team meetings or at practice, even though they can't participate themselves. Next one is the psychological strategies that promote faster healing. So athletes who set a clear recovery goal show faster progress. So I would also include that this could be also with SMART goals. SMART goals would actually be a really good example for this. Positive self-talk enhances belief in the healing process. So trying to stay motivated, tell yourself that you will recover fully, and very fast would be also a great way. Um, Healing imaginary can mentally reinforce physical recovery as well, like earlier, talking to yourself, telling your mind and body that you can do it and push through and recover even faster. Stress control and optimism reduce psychological setbacks. This would be also important if the team or school has access to um, a sports psychologist would also be very ideal and helpful to help them get through recovery and rehabilitation. Um, Also, strong social support boosts recovery outcomes. Um, Making sure friends or family are able to support the athlete while recovering from the sport injury. Motivation and focus are maintained through mental techniques. This is also a great one. Motivation and focus is probably the greatest way to mentally recover first, then will be followed by physical recovery. And the next one would be mental challenges during the return to play. So, starting off, returning athletes may fear a re-injury or not meeting expectations. This is pretty common because they would have to train their recovering joint or injury a little bit more than others, and it could come back during a game or in training. So, athletes don't want to go 100% in practice or games. So they might not be full putting all of it in. Performance anxiety can increase due to pressure from coaches or teammates. This is also mental toughness as well. Self-doubt and reduced physical confidence are common barriers. Intrinsic motivation leads to better mental recovery and sport appreciation. Extremely motivated athletes report lower confidence and satisfaction. Support systems like coaches, peers, professionals ease this transition. Like I said earlier, a team sport, psychologist would be really ideal in this, to get them through this, or when they're back already, to give them that reinforcement support about, playing. Next. Motivation and compliance and rehabilitation. Athletes often skip or inconsistently follow home exercise routines. And this is a really big one, motivation. It's really how bad you really want it. Um, Sometimes athletes may get a little, um, they get slack, or lazy and don't want to do in-home exercise routines that they are required to do from the team or the weight training coach over off season or break. Self-motivation predicates higher rates or rehab completion. Positive mental strategies increase treatment adherence. Goal setting improves consistency and direction in rehab. Accountability through trainers or support partners is definitely a major key. Encouraging feedback reinforces commitment to recovery. All right, next would be traits of athletes who cope well with injury. So they show determination and remain engaged with the recovery. They maintain a positive outlook despite setbacks. They seek knowledge and ask questions about their injury. High self-efficiency leads to better rehab participation. Trainers observe greater compliance and effort in these athletes. Psychological resilience often leads to more complete recovery. Basically, to summarize, the athletes who care about their injury would ask questions on what can they do, what can they do in exercise wise in the gyms, what can they do with type of exercise, what kind of weight to help it not get injured even more, or learning what to do, prevention to make it worse, wearing proper recovery gear, for example, using canes, wheeler, um, a cast, anything like that. Um, be more engaged with questions and maybe what kind of food they should be eating to recover, what kind of therapy, anything like that. Showing interest would definitely help them come back maybe a little bit faster than other athletes who are determined to come back and play. Okay, and then using imaginary imagery during rehabilitation, athletes visualize themselves performing rehab exercises successfully. Mental imagery is often used at home during rest or while watching practice. It helps regulate emotions and reduce anxiety during recovery. Healing imagery is used to imagine tissue repair and reduce pain. Mental rehearsal supports motivation, enhances exercise accuracy. Imagery can also help maintain sport identity during time off. So I would say, in other words, this could be daydreaming. Maybe when you guys are watching, or when athletes are watching film, they imagine themselves that they're gonna play, that they're gonna get better soon before the game. I would say it's another mental toughness, telling yourself that you're going to recover and be better than ever. I'm sure a lot of athletes do um, relate to this. Okay, and I believe that is all. Thank you for watching.